Welcome back to Dom's Corner, everybody. I'm your host,
Dom Martino. I was muted.
Dom Martino. I was muted. Welcome back to Dom's Corner, everybody.
Dom Martino. And
Dom
Martino.
And today we're going to talk about Falcon
and the Winter Soldier.
So that should be a lot of fun. We're just going to do kind of a spoiler review on it. And later on, we might get to that phase sizzle reel that Marvel had put out.
So yeah,
should be a good show today.
We'll do this kind of how we did the WandaVision and Mandalorian reviews.
Where we just kind of went through.
Each episode, I gave
a brief rundown. We all kind of gave our quick takeaways and thoughts on it.
So probably not going to be as long of an episode as it has been.
Last week of Dom's Corner, so fuck it.
But sitting here with me today is Miss Sammy Ramirez.
Sammy, how you doing?
Well, hello. I'm doing good. Happy to be here.
Good to see you. And also with me today is Mr. Cisco Scartosi. Cisco, how you doing today?
Cisco, how you doing?
What's up? Pretty good. Happy May the 4th to everybody out there.
Yeah. It'll be airing
happy
on
Star
Revenge
Wars
of the
Day.
5th, though. It'll air on Revenge of the 5th. So happy Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah, we're recording on May the 4th. But
all good.
Yeah,
all good. No, it's cool.
Happy Revenge of the 5th.
Exactly.
Yeah, Revenge of the 5th.
Exactly.
All
right. So let's get into this. Falcon Winter Soldier, latest series from the MCU to air on Disney Plus. This is directed, I believe, by Kerry Scotland. In my opinion, did a good job of the show. I know that we're gonna have differing opinions on it, and that's all good. But for me, as somebody who was kind of, as you guys know, down on WandaVision, I thought this series felt a little bit more like planned out, a little more fleshed out, a little bit more just like it had a direction. As I felt like WandaVision could have gone in a million differerent ways. Did I hate the ending of WandaVision? No. But I also felt like it was a little underwhelming on the same hand. I really liked the direction of Falcon Winter Soldier. I thought it was great. So that's my thoughts on that.
Cisco, overall, how did you feel about the series?
I'm pretty mixed on it overall. Like, there's certain things I did like about it regarding, I thought it started off strong and then kind of lost momentum after that. And so, but there is still stuff, obviously. I don't know if I've said it on here before, but like the Captain America series, like the trilogy is my favorite of the MCU.
Yeah.
So I think that made me like it even more probably than most people, because you have Bucky, who's been in every single Captain America movie, and you got to see his progression and then how that played out now. And then you got Falcon, who, is kind of struggling with taking the mantle of Captain America. And I loved that stuff. In that basis, but I just think it got lost with too many villains, and like the finale especially kind of left me really underwhelmed. Not saying that WandaVision's was like, an impeccable ending to either, but like I thought overall that show took more risks, and like the filmmaking in that was just like from every decade of television was just such an interesting concept, where this one was like more traditional. And I think I watched that, like, is it called Assembled, where they do like the behind the scenes?
Yeah,
I watched
because I was curious, and I wanted to see like some of the action stuff. That was like mainly why I watched it, and I do recommend it for that, because the first like helicopter fight or whatever, like I thought that looked amazing. That was like one of my favorite moments of the whole show. And, lo and behold, the behind the scenes, they actually had people fly out and catch that footage. And I'm like, yeah, it looks better. It looks better than CGI. You can tell. That's why I think it's one of my favorites. But then I felt like, they kind of, covered that COVID kind of messed with a lot of, like, there was this whole storyline they had of like a virus or whatever that they had to cut because of COVID. And there was some locations that they wanted that they couldn't go to, and they had to like reshoot certain things. And I just felt like, I felt that in the show, that it felt kind of like patched together and didn't really as a whole fit together at the end. Am I excited to see what comes next in the Captain America 4? Of course I am. Like I said, like I love that character and what he symbolizes and everything like that. But I mean, yeah, there was just some stuff that didn't work for me overall. But like I said, there is some stuff I did like. There's some good action. Zemo coming in, I thought added another layer to it that I really enjoyed. But yeah, that was my overall thoughts.
Cool. And speaking of, I guess this is kind of news that we can incorporate into this review. Did you guys hear about Doctor Strange being in that original draft for WandaVision?
I did. I actually
did, and I knew it.
I predicted that too. Yeah, I was on stereo. We said that's what I think the commercials were.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yep. That might have been a mistake.
They cut that out. They cut that out and left it ambiguous. But I was like, it feels like that would fit like the story.
Yeah,
it feels like that would fit.
I agree.
And so I guess it's not like we called it like we called what they originally were gonna do, but not like how it turned out. I guess.
Yeah.
This is more accurate.
Yeah, for sure. And Sammy, what were your overall thoughts on Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
So my overall thoughts is I really did enjoy this show. I really like all of the technical things, like Cisco said. Again, watching the assembled special really gave me like a much bigger appreciation for it, because they really just break down how difficult each of those fight scenes and action scenes actually were, and for them to look so flawless and seamless is an incredible feat in its own that I absolutely love. And then, I mean, it's hard for me to say a bad thing about the show. Some of the pacing was a little rocky, but I love these. I love Bucky and I love Sam so much already. So to watch us just go further into their story was really just a complete joy for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, after episode it just kept getting better. And it was able to do the whole 6-hour movie thing, like a mini series, but we're treating it like a long movie, but also keep it episodic. Like every episode I felt a complete story had happened, and yet I understood where it was in the large scheme of things. I was able to see the small piece, and yet it kept always being referred back to the overall, which I really loved. I can't say that about many things that of that level of consistency. See, I mean, great acting, great directing. I mean, a big Marvel fan already. This was right up my alley. I just loved it. Yeah. You can get into more specifics by each episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Of why I loved
it.
Yeah.
For sure. So let's start with this first episode. Which really it's just introducing us to where Sam and Bucky kind of are. One of the cool ideas that kind of got brought up is the idea of Avengers not getting paid a lot. Things like we kind of got introduced to that. We got introduced, and this is the stuff I really liked about the first episode. Is when we got introduced to kind of Bucky's post trauma and him having to go through therapy and things of that nature. And I remember being like, the first episode was fine. I wasn't too high on it. Like I remember thinking it was fine. I was more intrigued with the Bucky stuff for sure. As much work as they put into that action, because I did go ahead and take a look at that assembled episode as well. For me, like a lot of the action didn't hit in the first episode. Like I know a lot of people were really high on it. I just didn't think it hit as well for me. I think that a lot of my problem is not that it looked like CGI, because it wasn't. It was more or less that just a lot of it wasn't as in frame as I would have liked it to be. But when it came down to like Sam flying and stuff, and like we got those first person views, that's where it really would shine for me. And but as far as the characters go, I just remember being more intrigued by Bucky's whole thing. And then you get the John Walker introduction at the end, which is like, I kind of see where this is going. So that it definitely captured my attention in that first episode. I just remember not being as high on the first one as I would have liked to. But like I said, I figured it would get better along the way. I was hoping for it, and it did eventually. Obviously, I was really happy with this thing overall. But Cisco, what are some of your biggest takeaways from the first episode for you?
Yeah, I kind of already stepped on it the last thing. A little bit. But like I said, I didn't know we were gonna do this format, but that's all right. But yeah, I think it started off really strong. And like, you know, specifically the flying scene, like I said, the fight was like where they had I forget what they call them, but those like people that are with those suits that are just like sailing through the air. Like, I thought that was cool. And you get to see, like, you know, Falcon, that's his domain, you know what I mean? Like, obviously he would be a beast at the aerial fighting. And I like, he used his jetpack. Like, I just like seeing it again, like just and how they filmed the action, I do think it like hit for me. Like, you could see everything. It looked really good. Like the helmet cam, like you were talking about, I thought added like another you know, layer to it. Like you were in his headspace, kind of like they do with Iron Man. Yeah, I loved all that stuff. I'd like, and yeah, Bucky, like kind of commenting on his PTSD and how he's gonna deal with that and try and make amends, even though he's like, you know, cold-blooded killer at one point, but you know, it wasn't his fault. Yeah. And so yeah, I really like the first episode, actually. Like, I think it's very strong. You get Rhodey War Machine makes an appearance.
That's true.
Yes. I thought he might come back later on, which I was kind of disappointed that he didn't. But I thought, you know, just to see him in this, you know, universe and remind people that like he's kind of similar with Falcon in terms of powers. You know what I mean? He's just got the suit and they're in flight and stuff like that. So yeah, and then like even the Bucky thing with, I think this is where you find out like he's friends with that like older Asian man, and you find out why. And it's really fucked up. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like all the seeds they planted in this one, I thought, like I said, were really strong. I just don't think they paid off in the end, but like I really was on board this episode for sure.
Yeah.
I liked it.
One of the characters I meant to shout out here too that I found to be increasingly more likable the more we saw him throughout the series was the character of Joaquin. I really liked him. But
anyway, and GSP also, who returns later on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Sammy, what were your overall thoughts on the first episode, or like what are your biggest takeaways, I guess?
I mean, I kind of just have to echo everything that's been said already. I really love the thing that I guess I love about the show overall is how ground level and street level it is. That we're really looking into the, like, I get like the event, like how do the Avengers get paid? They don't, I guess. That they have money problems. That's a very street ground level problem. And things like, how does Bucky move forward after everything that he's done? He probably goes to therapy and he's trying to figure it out and talking to people. And I just think that that's, again, so cool to see in a Marvel film when we're always so concerned about, you know, the big, I don't want to say pretty, but like pretty show things. That exactly, that we're also interested and focused on, but it's so cool then to like be like, no, we're stopping for a second, we're going to deal with the consequences of our actions pretty much, and just see how that goes. And that's, I feel like, this show, and that, I mean, then that's completely evident from the first episode. From all of those moments. And I just love the idea of Bucky Barnes in therapy. I love the idea of any superhero just being like, you know what, guys, I need therapy. And just sitting down and showing me their therapy sessions. Like, we love to see it. I love to see it.
Yeah.
Every time.
She's like, give me your phone. Give me your phone.
Literally. I'm like, eat him for Phil. Do it.
Hilarious.
Heal him.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Moving into the second episode. This was basically the first time we got to see Sam and Buck together, which I think is one thing that got a lot more interesting, became a lot more fun to watch. Obviously, these two have wonderful chemistry on screen. Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, that is. And we get a little bit more of a peek, obviously, into Wyatt Russell as John Walker, who I think plays this character incredibly well. I really enjoyed watching his performance on screen. I know he's kind of become this, you know, big joke. It's almost like meme status, right? Like, you just love to hate this guy. And for me, that's agreed. But on the same hand, I gotta say, in these earlier episodes, I found him to be pretty likable. I was like, let's give John Walker a shot. I'm sure he'll be the villain, but let's give him a chance, folks. Let's see what he can do. Shit happened. Not in this episode, but later on down the line, obviously. But still, Sam and Buck are, you know, awesome together. And
this is where we start to learn
about
Carly and the Flag Smashers and all this other, our big plot essentially.
And I think that they did a good job of carrying forward the Sam and Bucky relationship from the past films into here, really making that blossom. And I really loved all. And then we kind of start to dive into some of the deeper themes of the show, with racism and things like that. In this episode as well, we meet Isaiah for the first time, who we find out is Charles Lumley.
Charles Lumley, I believe, does a great job as the character, and I believe,
he's basically,
he was
should have been a super soldier, right?
And
we never really knew that,
and we never really took these like real world issues and made them concurrent with the MCU.
He could have been Captain America.
Could have been.
While Steve was frozen, but
100%.
America wasn't ready.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
100%. And I think that the I found that stuff to be powerful.
I really like the therapist character
as well. I know they didn't show her a lot, but like what she had to do here was great. Again, though, on the second episode, I was still like, I'm not sold on the action. As much as I love the chemistry, as much as this episode was better, I wasn't sold on the action in the second episode. Just wanted everything to just be a little bit more in frame, a little bit better there.
But anyway,
Cisco, episode 2, what are your biggest takes?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree again. I mean, I love the action in this one. I thought
everybody does.
Did you watch Assembled, Dom? Did you watch the special?
No, I appreciate what went into the action,
but I'm saying that I'm the filmmaker. I'm gonna shoot it differently.
That's all I was saying. But I appreciate
what went into it.
Anyway, Cisco, sorry. I'll put you back.
The highway fight scene was insane. Like, I loved all that. Just from Bucky hanging down and Falcon swooping under the cars and over freeway signs. You can see on the Assembled, like the pre-visuals that they did for that. It just paid off. It looks really good. You get, the introduction to Carly as the super soldier. Like, I think we had gotten like a preview of her in the first episode, but now you get to see her full-fledged super soldier powers. And like, it was basically it took Captain America, the new Captain America, John Walker, and all of them to like kind of stand a chance against them. That's when they kind of knew like they were they were in trouble, I think.
Yeah.
Let me see what else. Yeah, you got the introduction of Isaiah I liked and appreciated, like also like where the cop kind of stops them outside of Isaiah's house and he's like, is this guy bothering you to Bucky, which is just like really fucked up, but like very accurate to what's going on right now. So appreciated that. And Isaiah even just confirming that like, not much has changed in that way, because he was the original super soldier. He got super mistreated and, very basically resents the government and Captain America as the symbol, and which will come back later. And his stuff is kind of my favorite in the whole series, Isaiah and Sam's relationship and arc. I think that's one of the ones that does pay off more than the other ones. And even you can like catch. Me and Edwin reviewed every episode on my stereo for Saturday matinee, but you can go back and I called like this John Walker guy. No, I'm not feeling him. There's something like underneath the surface here where it's like, yes, he's trying to help, but also I feel like he does kind of have this bully complex. And I was right. He did. But like, I grant that he was trying to help originally, but he definitely had some like anger, military cops anger issues that kind of come into play later. So, but yeah, even all the buddy cop stuff too. I think this was like where the buddy cop dynamic between Bucky and Sam was strong, kind of giving me Lethal Weapon vibes and stuff like that, which I appreciated. So
definitely,
yeah. So again, I dug the first 2 episodes. I thought it started off really strong.
Yeah, for sure. And Sammy, go ahead. What were your biggest takeaways from episode 2?
So again, I have 3 points. So one is John Walker. Again, while I have never liked the character, I like the character, but I've never personally, if I were in his world, I would say I've never liked John Walker. From the minute I saw him, I was like, you're up to no good. What are you doing here? That shield belongs to Sam. Who are you, basically? And it only got worse from there. But I really do love his introduction in the second episode, how they do it with the whole kind of like parade kind of event, like at the football field for him. Like, I thought that was absolutely genius the way they did that. And then secondly, and then I also love Carly. Like, she was one of my favorite. I hate to call her a villain, but I guess she is the antagonist of this series.
Yeah.
But I just loved her as a villain so much. I loved her character. I loved everything that she was about. I love how her character stands for someone trying to do something good, but doing it in quote unquote bad ways or violent, harmful ways, but doing it in the name of good, and how that's different from people who do things the right way and are doing things in a place from a good heart, but in the right way, you know, and the difference between that. I absolutely loved all of that. I love the actress. I love everything about the character of Carly. And then lastly, then Isaiah Bradley, for again the same reasons you guys said. Like, it's just, again, that character means so much, and it's so impactful to see how he's placed in this story, because it just makes it that much more impactful and meaningful to, you know, have our now current Captain America talking to, you know, somebody who was denied that. Like, it's just, this show is metaphors for days. Like, it's just, it's an exact reflection, I guess, of things that are going on today through the lens of the MCU, which has been, you know, paralleled to our universe pretty much. It's just absolutely brilliant. So yeah, those are my 3 big takeaways from the second episode.
You can go back to my review. I called that Carly was going to be gender swapped from the comics, because the character is male in the comics. Carl Markenthal.
Yeah.
So again, check that out. Stereo. I called some of this shit. Pay attention.
Yeah, and I want to give a quick apology if you guys heard a ruckus over there. We almost lost power, so I had to go take care of that. So we're still on.
We're still on, so that's good.
What was that ruckus?
What was that ruckus? Could you
describe the ruckus?
Love that.
What is that from? I recognize that. What is that from?
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. Could you describe the
I love the sound.
Classic.
So episode 3 is at the time was my favorite one, even though
it's kind of, I guess if you can call one of these filler, it's that one in a way. But it's really not. Like, there's still stuff going on to advance the story, and obviously we get introduced to
Sharon in this episode.
Well, we
not introduced to Sharon, but reintroduced to Sharon. And so that was pretty cool to see her. She did just kind of come in a plot convenient type of way. I mean, so anybody has some gripes with that, that's fair. But
can I speak to that real quick? Because
that is true, though.
I felt slightly similarly, but after watching, I'm gonna go in the middle ground, because after watching Assembled, hearing how, like, even, oh my god, what's her name, Emily Van Camp was talking about how she was like, I thought that Sharon was put to bed, like I thought they were done with Sharon, and so it was cool that it did come back as that, which I do think is cool, because I also thought we would never see Sharon Carter again. And so I like the fact that they're taking a character we thought was done and being like, oh no, they're not done, and let alone are they not done, but we have this whole new storyline for them. I really like that, and I like that.
But like the fact that she was in Madripoor randomly, you know,
you make a point. But I mean, she's the power broker. You know? that's where the power broker lives.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I liked seeing her. I was happy when she came on, but it was plot convenience. I don't care what.
But I liked
the
plot.
Very convenient. Like, oh, she just happened to be there.
Right.
Kind of put me onto her trail, and then at the end, I was like, oh, of course, that's why. Like. It makes sense in the end, but it still was very like predictable. This was one of my problems with her character overall. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I will say this time I was happy with the action. This was the action I've been waiting for throughout this whole show. I mean, they kept their shit in frame. Yeah. It looked great. It was awesome. I mean, I did like seeing Sharon kick ass. It was the best shot action that they had so far in the show, and it felt very grounded, and you know, that was kind of what I was waiting for. It was just very grounded action, and. You know, this also is the classic, I mean, Zemo dancing in the club episode as well. So you got that as a highlight. So that's always good. And yeah, Daniel Bruhl's Zemo. Let's talk about that because that got teased at the end of the last episode. And then he kind of transitioned into here. He's great as Zemo. He is great as Zemo. And I loved watching him. I couldn't believe that Zemo became such a favorite of mine after this series. But hey, here we are. Cisco, any other takeaways from episode 3 before we move on?
Yeah, we kind of already covered the Sharon Carter thing. I do think it is, aside from being convenient, it was kind of like there still was some kind of mystery to it at this point where it was like, is she bad? Is she trying to help them? Which I kind of liked, but like, you know what I mean? Still was kind of leaning like this is super convenient. As far as Zemo, I agree. I thought he was the highlight of like this episode. Sharon Carter kicking ass, like that whole scene was cool. But like, I think during our review, I just was like, it did kind of get over long at a certain point where I was like, okay, this is usually the part where like the other guys come and help out, but like it was just her for like 5 minutes, like which I didn't mind. It was cool, but it was like, it was just awkward. It was like I expected a full-fledged fight scene with everybody, and it was just Sharon Carter by herself. But then like Zemo taking out that guy. I thought was cool, like them having to find the information, you know what I mean, and them going into that like seedy underground bar. Love that.
Yeah.
Reminded me of the Black Panther scene where they go to like India, or I can't remember where they went. Or it was like it was an Asian, I forgot. But yeah, that was super cool.
Where they
I remember it. Yeah, I know exactly what he's referring to.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so yeah, it wasn't like my favorite. I think I'd still put the first two, but like I did like the addition of Zemo. Like as far as action wise, I like the first two for sure. Okay. But the addition of Zemo, I did think like added another dimension to it. Sharon Carter, I kind of didn't care about, and like I said, the villains are not really. I didn't really care about throughout this whole show. So, but like, yeah, I don't remember like specifically what happens in there, but I never really feel like they were a threat, honestly, at any point. And so like, even in this one, like, yeah, Sharon Carter beats everybody up. She's like rich all of a sudden. So is Zemo. It's like a lot of convenient stuff beginning to happen, which got me worried, but I still like this episode overall.
If I may say something about the villains real quick, I mean, I get what you're saying on one end of, you know, they just didn't feel threatening, you know, because, you know, Sharon was just taking them out like as easily as she could. But, you know, on the same hand, like, I want to say, like, the seeds that they were planting to build up the Carly character and to develop her, I thought were just great throughout. Like, I think that they developed Carly incredibly well throughout these episodes. So that's one plus that I would like to say about this one. And then one thing I did forget to mention as well is obviously we get the IoTs at the end of this one as well. So that was a cool thing. But anyway, Sammy, your biggest takeaways.
Forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I really like that with that cliffhanger ending as well.
Yeah.
Again, I'll just say that I just absolutely love Carly Morgenthau. I love everything about her character. I love how she's developed. And again, like, because I'm saying this again, because I really do like how, like we were saying, that the villains, you don't really care about that. For me, like, this show was all about the villains a little bit. I mean, as much as Sam and Bucky, it was also just as much about Carly for me the whole time I was watching it. And so, yeah, that was probably my biggest takeaway from this episode. The just constant great development into really making me at least fully understand her and her position in the story.
For sure. Yeah. I mean,
the direction was beautiful as well. The the photography, like this was a beautiful episode.
It was.
Like
it looked
you
great.
Could frame multiple frames of this.
Yeah.
episode and put it in your house.
Really did look great. And yeah, like I said, at the time was my favorite. A lot of it did have to do with the camera work. I was just stunned of, what they were able to bring to television, with that. And I thought that was, it was really cool. And, again, it was the fillery episode, but I just thought that there were like so many fun moments in there as well, like, for sure. But anyway, moving into episode 4, and I go back and forth on this one and 5 being my favorites. I really love this one. So for me, the things I really enjoy about this, it's we get this flashback with Io and Bucky. It opens with that, which I thought was a great opening. Really something for us, kind of more hardcore MCU fans to really chew on there. And it did it filled in some blanks. I almost wish we got more of them because I loved the moment so much. The action in this episode, it stays on point. I really enjoy the way that the action is shot in this show pretty much from here on out. I think that it just stayed on point so well. We're getting a lot of, stuff happening with John Walker. He's getting beaten down by the Dora Milaje, and we also have this thing.
Best scene, by the way.
It's great.
Best scene ever, watching John Walker get taken down.
It's great. And, the other thing that's really awesome about this is, or about that, I guess, is kind of informs, some of his decisions moving toward the end, and same with everything that they were building with John Walker, because I think it's a mixture of that, a mixture of the pressure that, got to him just from being Captain America, and then, a mixture of, the fact that Sam and Bucky they just kept rejecting him, which, led to his big decision, which I like to call the Ned Stark moment of the show. It was just a big fucking, we didn't really see it coming necessarily. Maybe in the moment we knew he was going to go out there and do something stupid, but we didn't really see the show just taking this direction. But it was brutal, and it was one of the most brutal things that Marvel's ever shown on screen. So I was really impressed with that. And then the shot of the shield with the blood on it is just incredible. That's incredible photography right there. So I really thoroughly enjoyed a lot of this episode. Again, I go back and forth on this one, 5 being my favorites. But yeah, Cisco, what were your biggest takeaways from episode 4?
Just regarding how I think the villains are weak, you called it the Ned Stark moment. We were talking about Ned Stark before we started recording. So in season 1, before the Ned Stark moment happens, not to spoil it for everybody, but you had like 10 episodes of like, he's the main character, you're following him around and his family, and you care about him, and you basically get the rug pulled from under you at the finale.
Yeah,
I did not think that was like what it was. Still a great it was still a cool moment, but I don't think it was honestly on that level at all.
I didn't say it was on that level. I said what I meant by that, let's just so I can clarify real quick. What I meant by that was that I think it's the closest thing that Marvel will probably ever do to like a Ned Stark moment. I didn't think it was on the same level. So if you took it that way, that's not what I meant. Clearly, it's not on the same level. But anyway, go ahead.
It was definitely we all knew, I agree with what you said though, like we all did know he was going to snap at some capacity, and I was surprised that they did have like the blood on the shield. I did not expect for Disney to do that, so I will agree with you there. But yeah, this one Sharon Carter, I think one of the criticisms I had, like after setting that whole thing up in the last one, is I think she has like one small scene in this one.
True.
So again, kind of like very underdeveloped, I think, with her. The John Walker stuff, he was kind of annoying the whole episode to me. I get that's like part of it, but like that, like his character, but I just was like, why even bring this guy on the mission? Honestly, like why? Like you knew something messed up was gonna happen. But like I do agree, like the AO and the Dora Milaje scene, like as soon as it started happening, I was like, they're done. You guys don't know how powerful the Dora Milaje are.
Right.
When they just got their asses handed to them, I was like, okay, good on Marvel for accurately portraying just how these people like train every single day. Like you would not stand a chance.
For sure.
And I was surprised at the pushback that I saw Twitter having about like they betrayed Bucky by having that like eject button for his arm, and I was like, they're Wakandans. You don't think they're gonna have a backup plan in case Bucky goes nuts on them like that? I don't know. I was very surprised that Twitter was so soft on that.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, that was like, I was still kind of on board with it, but like I said, I was still kind of getting a little bit worried as far as the villain goes. But yeah, that opening moment with Bucky I thought was really strong acting wise. And yeah, I do wish they had more flashbacks overall with characters. Like, I wanted to see what John Walker's past is like. And you know what I mean, in Battlestar, wanted to see more of Bucky's past, because they kind of, after this episode, we get no flashbacks basically. So I do agree with you there as well. And Zemo, it's funny, Zemo just basically dips out every time there's a fight. You just see Zemo in the background, like, oh, so you guys are just gonna fight? I guess I'll see you guys later. It's like, it happens like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, you guys are just gonna let him go? I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
It's some stuff just felt sloppy to me. Like, it's stuff like that. I just felt like it could have been tighter. But yeah, it was still okay overall.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the one of the things I wanted to, I forgot to mention this in general, is that like the comedy in this season is great. Like, it's one of the highlights because it's used so sparingly, and like in the Dora Milaje scene was one of my favorite lines when
I was gonna get to that.
Yeah, looking good, John. That was really, really great. And then you had the one in the beginning with your TT. That was a good line when Anthony Mackie's like, my TT said something, and then Bucky's like, your TT, and then Daniel Bree,
which I got right away.
Yeah.
I was like, TT and duh.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, TT was a smart woman or something like that. It was such a great line. Anyway, Sammy, what did you think of what were your biggest takeaways from this episode?
So again, like you guys said, the 2 big ones are obviously the last shot, which again, like I could not believe Disney really did let that happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially since
very
like,
surprising.
Yeah, a big meme that was going around was like, y'all, like, Disney Plus, you really canceled the Lizzie McGuire series because it was too adult, and yet we can watch Captain America literally destroy another human's brain and have their blood all over the shield, and that's fine. That's for the kids.
If kids are watching this, I feel like that's an intense moment for a kid to watch.
God forbid Lizzie McGuire lives in an apartment on her own. Too scandalous.
Yeah.
I'm very upset about that as well. I feel your pain. I love the Lizzie McGuire show.
Thank you.
I don't mind that they hold on. I want to make sure. I don't mind that they had him brutally kill a guy with the shield, but consistency, Disney. Consistency anyway.
Consistency, exactly. Yeah, they don't show the decapitated guy, but like you can do the math. Blood on the shields, over him.
There's very
uses
small
it
room
as
for error.
Slashing weapon.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, It's also like real quick, the Love Simon, what was it called? Love Victor, I think it was called, that it went to Hulu. It was a spinoff of Love Simon, that movie, and it was supposed to go to Disney Plus. It is. I think it's called Love Victor. I think it's a show on.
I think I did know about that, but I forgot about it.
It was supposed to be on Disney Plus, and then they said it was too adult, so they moved it to Hulu. And we're like, oh yeah, like, God forbid a 17-year-old is gay in high school, but we can watch Captain America kill someone in front of our eyes. That being said, I love the moment.
Exactly.
It's just consistency.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, figure out.
But they don't want to piss off China. That's what it is.
I mean, you're not wrong.
They don't want to piss off China.
I mean, whoop, there it is.
China can take bloody violence, but you can't take what you just said. All that stuff
God
you just
forbid
outlined.
A 17-year-old boy wants to date another 17-year-old boy. Ooh, that's too much. That's too scandalous for us.
Love Simon is great too, by the way.
I love that movie. That was one of my favorite
Simon
movies.
Is really
it was a really good movie. I love Simon, and I didn't know there was a spin-off series. Now
there is. I haven't watched
it. Check it out. Maybe
I'll
go check it
out. I heard it was cute. I didn't watch it, but yeah, I heard it was cute. Oh, and then just my other thing is that also, again, like, one of my favorite jokes in the whole thing is John Walker is getting his ass kicked by the Dora Milaje, and Bucky's like, looking good, John.
Yeah, looking good, John.
Looking good, man.
That was great.
Like, chef's kiss comedy, A+, no critiques.
Yeah,
they're my 2 favorite moments. Yeah.
It's great stuff for sure. So moving into episode 5, and you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is my favorite one so far. Personally, I just loved the character development. There was a lack of action, but whatever. I mean, it was very character driven. I enjoy that. Those tend to be my favorite stories anyway. Is character driven stuff. So really enjoyed that. Sam and Buck really got this really they got in this groove, you know what I mean? And it was just cool to see, which we knew was going to have to happen eventually, but it was just, I liked the way they executed all that. Like, you know, we got a little bit more with Isaiah too, you know, we dove deeper into that, and it was really, really great, you know, way to kind of tee up a finale, in my opinion, especially when we go into that training montage, which I loved at the end there with Falcon. It was cool, very Rocky style. I really enjoyed that, and it was awesome to watch, and you just felt the power in the moments, you know what I mean, and you know, there were some very emotional moments as well, and I'm gonna go ahead for right now and say, you know, from photography, to acting, to, you know, just storytelling, I mean, this probably is my favorite one. I don't really have a lot of gripes with it that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, obviously we get the John Walker moment, and then this is also where we meet Val, which is Julia Louis-Dreyfus came in and just fucking slayed in that small moment. Yeah. She was really great to see, and I enjoyed her. The blue hair was cool too. So that's my final thing on that. But anyway, Cisco, what'd you think of this episode?
Yeah, again, this is when I, you know, started to continue to keep getting worried, like, because I just feel like nothing much happened in this episode. Like, you have the fight between Bucky and Sam and John Walker at the beginning, and then after that, it's like a lot of exposition and setup. And yeah, I do agree that was probably the best part. Like the John Walker, like, getting, you know, caught and like going to trial, I thought was like really corny. Like me and Edwin were talking about, just like Sam Wyatt, or that's his name, right? No, Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell, yeah.
Wyatt Russell's performance was just like really hammy. We felt like it just felt, he was just, I was like, if I hear this guy say, "I am Captain America," like one more, he says it like 20 times in the whole series, but just that whole scene, no, I don't think so. I don't know, I'm like, give him some more dialogue than just that. Like, that's not really his fault, I guess, at a certain point. Like, it's kind of the writing as well, but that scene didn't work for us. The Sam training stuff was cool, but yeah, like I said, I was getting kind of worried. Like, again, like, there's stuff that's set up here, like with Joaquin, that doesn't pay off, and, you know, inevitably, now that we know, there's, you know, Zemo kind of is not like in it as much like he was in the last 2 episodes, and he was kind of like keeping me liking the show, so that was kind of disappointing to me too. And yeah, I don't know, like I said, I was kind of mixed to negative on this episode overall, and I was like, well, hopefully they'll save it in the finale, because they're setting all this stuff up. And I mean, yeah, the Julia Louis-Dreyfus stuff, again, not paid off at all. Like, and it's disappointing.
Anyway, Sammy, what'd you think?
It's
not worth arguing tonight.
I know, I was like, so too.
I maybe disagree. It's fine. Yeah,
the
go
opposite
ahead.
Argument to present the opposite argument.
Go ahead. Yeah.
This was my
show was for.
So this was again, also my favorite episode of the entire series, and it's the act, for me, it's like the acting, the directing, and the story all just so perfectly came together, I think, in this episode. And again, like, I'm a huge fan of when I don't really always need like a lot of plot, a lot of things to be happening for me to be satisfied with a show or a movie. Like, I just need good characters saying good dialogue.
Yeah.
That's really, like, I'm easy to please. That's all I really truly need. And that is exactly what I think this episode is, between the conversations with, like we said, with John Walker and Val, and John Walker and, you know, the US government. That whole breakdown I thought was really great. And I really like, because to me, John Walker he's supposed to kind of be a little whiny, I think. Yeah. That's a part of his thing, that he feels entitled to things like that, you know what I mean, and feels like a little bratty if he doesn't get them. So by him, I think, by constantly being like, no, I'm Captain America, it's almost like, you know, a little kid being like, no, I get this, I get the ice cream, I get to do it. But I think that's on purpose, because what do we want in a hero? Not that. That is the opposite of, because versus what does Sam do? Sam takes all of his problems and things that come in his way and uses it as fuel. He doesn't whine about it, doesn't complain about it.
By the way, do you think in real life though, just a question for you guys. In real life, someone gets caught on camera just straight up murdering somebody, that he gets off with a pass, even if he is like a war hero. They just let him walk.
If they're John Walker, if they just let him walk.
Depends.
Well, they didn't just let him walk.
They're throwing his ass in jail, I think.
They suspended. I mean, a lot of his stuff, but yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I guess like cops get off all the time, so maybe it is accurate.
Yeah, it will get. We'll get to this, but wasn't the point of the ending that the system is flawed? But just saying.
Was that the point of it?
I thought so, but we'll get into that. But,
I think a little bit, yeah.
Sorry.
But also sorry, just keep going around. But like the conversations that happen in this episode were just so brilliant, because then we move in to, you know, Isaiah Bradley and Sam's big conversation, where you have one of the trademark lines of the show of that they will never let a black man be Captain America, and no self-respecting black man would ever want to.
That was my favorite part of that episode. For sure.
And
that was good.
Yeah, it's just good characters having good dialogue that really means something, and it contributes to the overarching thing of the show, because that's Sam's struggle. That's everything that Sam is thinking about in one sentence, pretty much. So I absolutely love that. And then what else is in this episode? What other good conversations? They were really good. Oh, Sam and Bucky at the very end. That's the one I'm thinking of. Them at the very end, right before he goes into his full, Sam does his full training montage. That whole conversation where basically the big takeaway for me was when Bucky's saying, like, I have been making amends. And Sam goes, and you haven't been making amends. You've been avenging. You can't heal by avenging that way. You actually have to, you can't just say I'm sorry, you know, you have to prove it and do things for them. And like that was one of the most powerful messages I have seen in a while. Like it was so truthful, and it's something that everybody needs to hear but nobody wants to say to each other. And so to hear it in a Marvel film just blew me away. And then that whole ending montage as well. A+. Go ahead.
But seeing how that pays off though, about how he like apologized like to one person and then that's it. Like, did you not think of? I thought of like Justice League when Batman the was like one person, only one. Like, and it was like the corniest. I was like, that's it. That's it. He's cured now. He has no PTSD. He told one person.
Well, I mean, that's the road.
That notebook
that's
was
the true
full.
road to healing.
That notebook was full.
You're not wrong.
Let's be honest.
You're not wrong. Yeah, I say you're not wrong.
Yeah,
but I do think the road.
I wanted to like
true
the sentiment,
healing
but
we
can get to the finale. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of with Sammy there. I think that was just the start. You know what I mean? I you know, so that's one of the better Joss Whedon moments, by the way, in Justice League, in my opinion. Just saying. But anyway, as far as like John Walker being whiny, I mean, it's fine if you think it's fine if you think that John Walker's too whiny. I get that. That's okay. I'm just saying I would rather take that over Hayden Christensen's not just the women, but the children too. I hate that. That's like I thought John Walker's miles ahead.
He was hamming it up. If you watch that courtroom scene, man, there was some hammy acting in that. He was. I get it. He's trying to sell this like one-liners like consistently, but yeah, it was very hammy courtroom scene. TV acting. I felt like television scene.
It's also I think that's just John Walker though. I think that's just John Walker. That's just how he is.
But that was my problem with him as a character.
But you can have a problem with it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's all good. Anyway, so the finale. So let's talk about this. I love this finale. It's not my favorite episode in the series, but I did love the finale quite a bit. I thought it was quite excellent. Cisco, I know we're going to talk about the stupid thing on the costume. I'll let you bring that up because I do agree with you on that one little
You can bring it up. It's like pretty small.
What's the problem with the costume?
I'm gonna let Cisco explain it. It's I feel like he's gonna have like a whole bevy of complaints anyway, so I'll let him add that to his list. But...
Oh, you want me to just unload now?
Go on.
Well, not now. In a second. But no, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Just bring it up.
No, it's all good. I love the colors, like the red, the blue that were like kind of they were using. It gave such a cool look to the finale. Really kind of reminded me of like a a good time, that Russo Brothers movie. Just the way that they were using the colors, I just thought it looked great. I think that the way that everything came together was really, really good. I mean, to me, it took everything that was set up earlier and either paid it off or, said in classic Marvel fashion, hey, we're going to put this in the next thing, which is probably going to be Captain America 4 in this case. So I really enjoyed that about it. I think that it all played very, very well. The action was top notch. I mean, the acting was top notch. I know Cisco's going to disagree, and it's all good. I love the point. And when they got there, to the message, of the system is flawed, and I think that for them to take a swing and just kind of end everything, kind of bring it to that halt, just to throw this message out that I think hits very close to home. And I know some people don't like that when a Marvel or Star Wars does something like that, but to me, I really enjoyed that in my content, and I thought it played very well. I liked Sam's speech quite a bit. I thought it was really great, and I think that part of what is going to make him such a great Captain America is he's not only going to take the ideals of Steve, but he's also going to kind of redefine what it means to be a Captain America, which is to point out some of the flaws of the system. And it helped me get more on board with the fact that he was going to be Captain America moving forward. And I just thought it was amazing. I really did. And when it came down to what I think the best part was definitely at the very end when he took Isaiah into the museum and put that was amazing. That was incredible stuff. Very heartfelt, and really liked the direction of the finale. They probably could have done more. I will say my one gripe with the finale is they could have definitely done more with John Walker in general. Like, I felt like that was one of the things that could have been paid off better. We'll see what happens in the future. I just feel like because he was such a big part of the series, he could have had bigger moments. So that would be my one, major gripe with the finale. But the rest of it, I thought played incredibly well. Carly's death, I found to be tragic. It hit me because, I was so attached to that character, and she was being developed, and her and Sam did build somewhat of a relationship before John Walker came in there and ruined it. To see, the fact that, Sam was devastated by her death was a big deal. And I really enjoyed, Sharon being the power broker, okay. I want to see what happens there. I think they're setting up for that Secret Invasion series with that, so we'll see what happens. There's a lot of fun ideas that have definitely been set up. I do, however, the one other thing I'll throw out here is the post-credit scenes. I miss the old classic movie style post-credit scenes where we got a little bit of a clip from the next thing, rather than here's some tiny setup for the next thing. Instead of I miss getting kind of a tease, another character, big character would be in the post-credit scene. They would kind of surprise us, but that's just my little nitpick on that. But anyway, Cisco,
what were the post credits again?
Could you I was gonna say I don't remember.
Remind me again.
What were the, yeah.
Wasn't one the John Walker one?
Sharon.
That's right. It was the Sharon Carter one. Yeah.
That's and then what was the other one?
There wasn't.
I think there was just the one.
It was just the one in the finale. The John Walker one was the episode before.
Actually, the end.
Yeah. But
you're right.
Yeah, but there was nothing else pretty much hooked onto it. It was just the Sharon one, and which I think that's a cool idea. I just miss the old classic movie type post-credit scenes where they would bring in a character from another project and be like, hey, even if it was a smaller one like Shang-Chi or something, bring in something just to kind of set up your next thing. That's good marketing.
Doctor Strange should have been at how Doctor Strange should have been at the end
exactly.
of WandaVision.
I think we all agree on that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yes. It's one of the things that these shows have been really lacking on, in my opinion, and they could do better on that. But anyway, Cisco, I'll let you unload.
Okay, well, first and foremost, the outfit, which was teased in the last episode before this one, I liked it. The only thing I didn't like about it was the mask part that they kind of added.
Yes, that's the part I agree.
It just because I feel like Falcon's look has always been goggles and just nothing else on his face and covering his face. So it just was weird.
And it's a bitch to maintain.
And if you watch the thing, the behind the scenes they talk about CGIing it and trying. I'm like, just take it off.
Yeah.
You didn't have to put it on there.
It's so much
work.
seeing that the behind the scenes made me like confirm to me that didn't need to be there. Like it was like that was crazy. Yeah, the Sharon Carter stuff again I thought was sloppy as hell. Like it kind of undermined Carly's arc in a way to me, like because it was like, yeah, John Walker, I felt like his transformation wasn't very earned because we had just seen him go like full villain like not too long ago, and then now he just like on the drop of a dime now he like wants to be a good guy, and it was like, yeah, it didn't work for me. I didn't think like really any of the action, like there was some cool scenes but like with Falcon at the beginning, but it was like nighttime, so it was like, I don't know, like I really don't like nighttime action, you can't really see anything. And just, yeah, I just, like I said, this was like I think this was my least favorite episode, honestly, because it was like, yeah, like the villains didn't pay off. Carly, while I admit that she's a good character, like there's the classic Marvel killing off their best villains in a very underwhelming way instead of letting them develop or go to jail at least, and like maybe they can come back later on. Like now she's dead, and like the whole speech. Sorry, my computer just popped a message up.
I hope she stays.
The whole speech of like. I mean, yeah, I'm like, how's she gonna come back now? But the whole speech of like Sam too was like seemed to go on for like 5 minutes, and I was like, that, like, where's his soapbox where he's like, you know, you guys don't do anything and blah blah blah. It just felt so corny to me. Like I was like, so like, what are you gonna accomplish? Like Carly died, you agreed with Carly, and like I guess you're trying to argue like with her points, but like she's dead. There's probably going to be another person that agrees with Carly, like, or like agrees with the Flake Smashers that's going to come up because nothing's going to change. And yeah, I don't know, it just it was like the faux politics, I think, was like the worst in this episode. Like some of the political stuff like Isaiah, I think worked generally. Like they had a cool moment here, I'll give it that. But like, yeah, the Sharon Carter, I thought it just felt like rushed. It felt like they needed 1 or 2 more episodes. And like watching the behind the scenes, it kind of, you know, and them talking about COVID and how they had to like rewrite stuff and rearrange stuff, it kind of made me wonder if they did plan to do more and they had to condense it because of budgetary, and like they couldn't keep flying the crew, like they had to like have a minimal crew and stuff like that. Like it really made me wonder that like it affected how they wanted it to end. And yeah, I mean, like the teases, yeah, it's like whatever, like, yeah, I guess John Walker is going to be in it, and Julie Louis-Dreyfus is going to be in it, but it's like, it's the same thing with Mortal Kombat. I'll say, you got to set up something good first, and then we can get excited for the sequel. You don't just set up the sequel and then, you know, just make a mediocre product, you know, in the meantime. It's like, no, you got to get me hyped for this, because now I'm like, like maybe I'll check out like whatever John Walker's whatever, like, but I'm not going to be excited for it really, I don't think. Like, so I don't know. It was like, like I said, the show started off strong. I thought it was pretty positive, and then like it's a decent when then Zemo came, but then once he left, I was like, I kind of just checked out. Like I thought the Flake Smasher stuff didn't work, and just overall it wasn't a cohesive ending like it could have been. So yeah.
I mean, the one thing I'll say is you know, for John Walker, for me, I didn't take that as he's just going to be the good guy now. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the plan. I don't think whoever carries that character forward is going to just use him to be the good guy now. I think that there's a lot more.
But it was just like flippy floppy, because it's like, okay, he was good in that moment, and now he's a villain, and it's like they couldn't decide what to do with him. Like they just. It was plot convenient, like you said earlier. Like it felt so plot convenient.
I don't know. Like I said, I felt like they could have given him bigger and better moments in the show in general. Like that was my big gripe with him. But I think that moving forward, whoever takes that character isn't just gonna like keep him the good guy. I think there's too much incredible interest in that character to where, you know, you can't just like make him the U.S. agent. That's a weird direction. Yeah. So I hope that whoever carries it forward doesn't just keep him the good guy. And I never really took it that way in general. I thought that they were setting up for him to get this U.S. agent gig, and he's going to fuck that up somehow now too. So I hope that's what happens, because that's you could do a lot more with that character. There's still a lot left on the table with him. So Sammy, your thoughts on the finale?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have three main points in my head, but one is, again, like, I was always so at the end when John Walker's getting his new suit and becoming U.S. agent, Val is like, after what we're about to go through, we're not going to need a Captain America. We're going to need a U.S. agent. And I mean, like,
corny.
It's a cool line, whatever, but also a little corny. But also, I'm like, are we?
Though? It brought me back to like Abomination. Remember, like Incredible Hulk?
Yeah.
You're the Abomination. Right. You got to name drop them, like their comic book name, like
yeah, no,
U.S. agent.
Sammy's never seen it.
I don't know.
Yeah. I know, I've never seen
okay, but just that trope though in comic book movies though, right? Where it's like they have to say their name so the audience knows what they're called. Like, oh yeah, that's his name. Like, yeah, that's what it was. To me at least.
That was, yeah. But also I was just like, so because for me, someone paying very close attention to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the direction we're going in, I'm like, are we really, we're gonna need a U.S. agent when the multiverse?
No, I see what you're
open?
saying. I see what you're saying, though. Like,
yeah.
But she has other plans. I feel like she's
sure.
You know what I mean? Spinning her yarn
right.
to like just say whatever to make him feel good and like scratch his back and be like, yes, and you're a good U.S. agent.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
No, yeah, that's totally fair.
But yeah, and it's not his fault. I said this in our review too. Like, it's not again their fault. U.S. agent is his name in the comics, so I'll give it that. But that is still like one of the most generic and bad names for a villain of all time. Like, I'm sorry, that is a bad name.
Yeah, no, you were correct in that. That is for sure. So yeah, because also like I also don't like how this whole time, I mean, for me, who's been rooting against John Walker this whole time, seeing him as a villain, I'm like, I was like, who said you could be a hero? I was like, I didn't see you could be. You're not my hero. I was like, I don't trust you. I don't see greatness in you that I wish to become myself. Like, that's what I'm looking for in my superhero.
On his makeshift shield. Remember his makeshift shield with the metal
made from home shield. Yeah, with his metal honor.
Come on, man. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. I couldn't.
In the world where we have like Spider-Man and Thor and even like the Winter Soldier, I'm like, my guy. This is not it. So to feel that. Also, I really was quite distraught at the fact that Carly had to die. I did not think that she had to die.
Me neither.
I was like, why did she have to die though? And again, it's a thing of Marvel just killing off their best villains before they can do anything else with them. They want to do one and done, when I'm like, there's so much more she could have done. Imagine how much more impactful Sam's speech at the end would have been if Carly was right there next to him.
Because it felt like Sam was getting through to her.
That's what I'm saying.
It felt like Sam was getting some ground. Like, she could have been maybe reformed, maybe been a hero at some point, and now it's not going to happen. Like, it just,
Yeah, no,
it's unfortunate.
100%. Yeah, it was. I was very distraught.
Bummed.
I was bummed. I was not okay for a hot second. Because again, I mean, while I loved, that was my other point. While I loved Sam's speech and everything he said, I was like, where's the lie? I didn't hear one exaggeration. I didn't hear one lie in that whole speech.
Yeah.
But it's, again, like the impact of it, which again, I saw Honest Trailers did their Honest Trailers that came out today for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, did they do it? I didn't even watch it yet.
They did. It was funny. There's one part though where
what did they have to say?
Where they get like and watch Sam give them all like a stern talking to. And it's literally like that. But I'm like, can you imagine?
That's what it was. That's what it was.
But then imagine if you had Carly right there next to him and both of them were giving the speech, and it was they want the same thing, but they need like these people who have the actual power to do what they're telling them they should
do. And
the
Flake Smashers get killed. All of them get killed, right?
Yeah,
in that fire from Zemo?
No, yeah, I was going to say, no, they get sent to jail, but no, you're right. They died.
Zemo fucking kills them off.
Yep.
I'm like, did they all deserve to die? Like,
no.
Dog, like, they wanted us to feel bad for John Walker killing them off, but then how do they want us to feel with Zemo killing them? It was weird. Exactly. I was just mixed emotions everywhere, mixed feelings.
Exactly.
I don't know. So to me, this was like the best thing I could say about it is like, if you're a comic book reader, I used to read comics as a kid. Every once in a while, you would take a chance on one, like say like, oh, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Okay, I know those characters, and then you get to the end and you'd be like, I didn't really like that, but like, you know what? That's all right. I'll just get another comic. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's what this is to me. Like, because there's some people that are like, ever since Thanos died, I'm done with the MCU, and I'm like, okay, like I can understand that. Like I feel like there hasn't really been anything post Endgame that's like been phenomenal. Like I'm not saying they have to be phenomenal every time, but like I thought WandaVision was good. I would recommend that to people, but even that was like, you know, the average person might not like that. I feel the same way about this show. Like the average person that's not invested in the MCU, not invested in the comic world, is probably not going to like Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, and I'm saying that as a person who is invested in that, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a tough sell. Like, I'm hoping they do better in Captain and Winter Soldier. Like this is like a setup to something else. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I'm very mixed on it.
I mean, yeah, kind of same. The only thing I'll add is that I loved to see that the very end when Bucky shows up to like the cookout and he's like got that cake and he's like, "What's up, everybody?"
Did you see the meme? It said Bucky's invited to the cookout. Bucky's invited to all the cookouts.
Yeah. And he's flirting with Sarah, Sam's sister, like.
Oh yeah, you know that was like, speaking of Lethal Weapon, they straight up pulled that from Lethal Weapon too, with
right
Mel Gibson's character flirting with Danny Glover's daughter. I was like, oh yeah, they straight up pulled that from that.
It works. But, it works. Not mad about it.
It's the all buddy cop movies steal from Lethal Weapon. Let's be honest. It's not a secret.
Standard, right?
it's the blueprint.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I mean, yeah, I always like when I reviewed it, I was like, they could have used a couple more episodes. Seeing the behind the scenes, I give them a little more leeway because of COVID, and I think that wasn't possible. But yeah, I think it definitely shows, and it did hurt them ultimately, unfortunately. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally thrilled about Carly dying. I mean, I think they should kill more characters.
Damn, thrilled about her dying.
I'm thrilled that this teenage girl died. I love it when that
I mean, like, I think y'all sound like those people who still aren't over the fact that Luke Skywalker's dead. But that's just me.
She's a young woman.
Yeah. She's a young
Luke
revolutionary.
Was shit.
She was a revolutionary.
Yeah.
That little girl's a revolutionary. She
was
led
like a female
movement.
Tupac.
She was female Tupac, honestly. You're correct.
Yeah, they killed her.
Hashtag female Tupac in the comments.
Keep her dead.
Some respect.
Keep her dead.
Wow.
They
resurrect. Hashtag
I'm tired of
resurrect
Marvel
Carly.
killing characters and then they don't like follow through.
I bet
on
you
it.
liked when Michael B. Jordan died too.
Loved it. It was amazing.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? It was incredible. Like, I freaking love when characters die.
To be fair,
it's
Stop
like
killing off your best villains. Stop killing your best villains, Marvel.
To be fair, Killmonger was a bit more of like a glorified death. Like it had more ceremony to it.
But did he have to die though?
Yes.
It's the same thing. I'm like, did he have to die?
I don't think he had to.
No.
Yes, I love when
like
they kill
Carly
characters.
did not have to die.
He has dimensions to him. He's not just a straight up like he's not a Hitler. You know what I mean? Like he had some points. He had some good points.
I mean, that's what I'm saying with Carly too. Carly,
yeah, she has some good points.
Yeah. Carly made some very good points. She was just trying to feed and house these people, and she had to die for that.
Yeah,
like same with Killmonger. Like Killmonger was just trying to empower his people, like the Wakandans have done, and we had to die for that.
There was another Twitter meme too where it was like Marvel loves doing you make sense in all the ways you can make sense as a villain, but let me just make like die. But you like killing people. that's why you have to die. Like
right.
they make them right. They make them so right, but then like, you know, Carly kills a whole building of people and they're like, oh, now she has to go down. It's like
I don't know.
That's the logic. That is the logic.
I'll just end with this and then we'll move into that phase 4 reel. But like, I mean, honestly, I'm thrilled about the death. I think from a narrative standpoint, it was great. I think that
honestly, you're doubling down on it. You're doubling down
from a narrative standpoint. It's great.
Die.
I love stakes in my TV, and if people don't die, right. I don't feel the stakes. I'm sorry, and I hope that she actually stays there. Yes, she did. Let's see.
By sharing Carter like that was weak, dude. I can't. I'm sorry, that was weak.
Yeah, I mean,
I hope she dies too.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Dom
wants all the women to die.
I want everybody to die.
Kill them all.
Kill them all. They snap half of them out of existence in Endgame, and then they brought them all back. It was such bullshit.
Let's get on the real train and kill John Walker. It's John Walker. If we're physically injuring anyone,
Louise-Dreyfus is as good as she was. I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, come on now, you're too good for this. Like,
Kill her too.
A little bit.
Kill her too.
I did.
And they just wasted her.
When she showed up, I remember I had the big feeling of like, oh, am I supposed to know who this is? Did I miss it? Did I miss something? Am I supposed to know who she is? Because I was like, I've never seen you before, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I feel like I would remember you. So they literally just said like, whatever.
Secret agent. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, her name in the comics. Her name in the comics is Mother Hydra, which is 100% better name than fucking U.S. agent. Mother Hydra is actually cool. Like if they call her that, please. Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, that's a cool name.
So anyways, that's the review for Falcon Winter Soldier. Let's move into this reel. I got a bedtime tonight, so stuff to do in the morning. But anyway, so real quick, so the sizzle reel was pretty cool. They kind of showed like a compilation of like old footage. I really like that they snuck in the middle there, kind of the theater cheering. Okay. That gave me chills.
Stan Lee though, come on guys, Stan Lee.
It was great.
Did you guys not tear up a little bit?
Yeah, it was great, man.
I was like,
I was tearing up. I found this thing to be super emotional. You know, and I mean,
still miss him.
We got some new footage for, you know, Shang-Chi. We got release dates for, you know, a ton of different movies.
Eternals. First Eternals look.
Eternals looks great. I hope they all die. I think I was really excited to see Angelina Jolie.
What, do you hope all the Marvels die too?
You're a monster. Stop, Thanos.
Stop that, honestly.
Get out of here.
Stop trying to just snap everyone out of here. What? I bet you want all 3 of the Marvels to die too, huh?
Yeah, that'd be
great.
Half
the people died in Infinity War, okay? You got your wish.
Exactly. Was Infinity War not good enough for you?
No, because they brought them all.
Infinity War
I was trying to explain this,
and
I kept getting interrupted earlier. They brought half of them back, and I was pissed because it's like you took so much away.
Did you not expect that? Of course, they're gonna kill Spider-Man.
It's Marvel. Of course, I expected it. Well, Spider-Man, you had to give back to Sony. That was a loan. You had to give Spider-Man back. I understood that, but when you brought the rest of them back, I was like, oh, come on. Just keep people dead.
Did you feel that way when they brought Palpatine back? Because that was pretty shitty too, though.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Okay,
but it made sense with a lot of the canon that they were setting up.
No, that was bad. That was terrible.
Oh, I've griped on Palpatine. I've griped on Palpatine many times. Okay. Trust me, ask Sammy. That's like my biggest problem with the Rise of Skywalker was the Palpatine thing and the way.
Well, I know you like it, and you say you defend it, so I wasn't sure what you defended it. We haven't talked about it. But,
oh no.
Yeah, Palpatine. None of the Infinity War bringbacks in Endgame were as just shameless as Palpatine Rise of Skywalker. Like, no, that was just horrible screenwriting.
The Endgame ones I'm joking about because that was cool when they came back, and then we got the portals. So those I'm joking about. But in general, I do like narratively when characters die because I do feel more stakes when characters die. That's my point.
I'm with you, but if there's good villains, let them breathe a little bit. We got 6 episodes, and Carly wasn't even in all of them.
Yeah. Also, like, Kylo Ren did not need to die. Let's talk about another villain that did not need to die. Yeah. Kylo Ren did not need to die.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
You would have disagreed if we got that Trevorrow script. You would have disagreed.
They fake killed Chewie.
Yeah.
They fake killed Chewie. That was lame. That was lame as hell.
Yeah. I agree.
I never thought I'd say this, but off the Star Wars talk. Let's move into the reels.
Okay.
The reel.
It is Star Wars Day. Okay, we can get some in here.
It is okay. I had the hat.
We're on a schedule.
I got my shirt.
Tight schedule. I'm all set, man. I've been watching. I watched New Hope and Empire today. Anyway, I'm getting off track.
Nice.
All right.
The best.
I mean, the sizzle war's not that long. Sizzle reel's not that long, so I feel like we're gonna be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a list of all of the things.
Okay. Well, what do
you want to go ahead?
Read them?
Well, what'd you think of the reel, Sammy? Go ahead. What'd you think of the reel?
Oh, I love the reel. I said on stereo the other day that the only thing that I was a little iffy on was just the fact that the particular audience that they chose to show from like their Endgame footage was just, it just seemed a little tame to me. It seemed like I've seen better reaction videos where
bigger
people are
ones?
even bigger and louder and crazier and screaming off their head way more. Like I was like, my theater I feel like was louder than the one that they showed in that video.
My theater was definitely lit.
Yeah, people were losing their minds at everything. So
I
by the
wasn't
time you
even
got
mad.
to the end, we were like,
Usually I'm mad when people talk in the movie. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Enjoy the moment, guys.
That's great.
No, yeah, the Thursday night showing of a big franchise movie, it's excused.
Yeah.
All the rules are canceled.
Yeah,
Just don't be on your phone. Other than that, like, we're kind of good. We're kind of cool. We all call it cool for that one showing.
So what's
and the Chadwick Boseman stuff, we got a better Chadwick Boseman tribute than the Oscars in this short 4-minute reel.
Yes.
The Wakanda Forever, and then when the title popped up, oh my god, yeah.
Yep.
So what's the slate?
So the slate. So this is in chronological order of time they're coming out. So starting, we have the Loki show, and then Black Widow, What If, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Hawkeye series, Miss Marvel series, Spider-Man 3 No Way Home, Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, The Marvels, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and then in 2023, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Okay.
I mean, I'm hyped for literally every single one of those. There's not a one that I'm like, meh, I don't care that much about.
Cisco, you got to watch one right now. Which one are you picking?
Can you read them off one more time? Sorry. Just because I wasn't expecting this question, but read them off one more time, please.
Okay. So we got Loki, the Loki TV show,
Yes.
Black Widow, What If, Shang-Chi, correct?
Yes.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, The Eternals, Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Spider-Man 3, Multiverse of Madness, Thor 4, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, The Marvels, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and Guardians 3.
Damn.
It's a list.
I know.
I have a top 3.
If we're talking like I don't know. If we're talking like recent ones, because I mean obviously I want to see Guardians 3, but there's like no information, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like I'm not gonna pick that one, even though I love that one. But yeah, I mean it's tied for 3 for me too, I think. Like I want to see Eternals. I love everything Chloe Zhao has done up to this point. I thought she was absolutely deserved Best Picture, Best Director, and the fact that she fought to have like actual locations in the Eternals, and we got to see what it's basically looks like Nomadland, but with like fucking superheroes. Like I want to see that. So I'm so interested to see her vision brought to the MCU. I'm just so interested in that. Spider-Man 3, obviously one of my favorite superheroes. Probably my number 2 favorite superhero of all time. Always going to be excited about that, and to see, you know, if Andrew Garfield is in this thing. There was a very like intense interview he did today. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter.
I did. It was great.
He was being very dodgy about the question about if he was in Spider-Man 3, and like even though he's in
which means he's in it. Which means he's in it.
He's in it. Yeah, he's in it.
It's just if you read it, it's like, I don't know. There's no way he's not. So I just for all the cameos alone, and to see just the scope of what they're gonna do in that, and then probably Thor 4, because I just love Taika Waititi and Ragnarok, like we talked about. So those 3.
We're pretty close, Cisco. I go Eternals, Spider-Man, and I actually do Doctor Strange instead of Thor. As much as
that's probably my 4. That's probably my 4th one. So it's not too far for me. But
Sammy, you got to pick. Let's do 3, I guess. Which 3 do you have?
There's too many on here. Like they're too
Good
hype.
point. Good point.
Literally, I have hype for every single one. Like there's not a one that I'm like, man, really I might skip it. Like every single one I'd watch right now if I could.
Yeah.
Like I would just go down the list. Like if I had access to all of them, I would just go down the list and watch all of them. But I say for top 3, I would have to say Loki is at the top. I'm so excited for Loki. I think it's gonna be that's
the one coming next too, so you don't even have to wait that long.
I know. We're getting close. I cannot wait for Loki.
I am worried though, like I said, it's only 6 episodes, so I hope it doesn't feel rushed. That's been one of my complaints lately.
They've had more time though, to be fair. They've had slightly more time.
But
but just by slightly.
That has me a little worried. I'm
just worried because it's going to be overlapping with Bad Batch, and I need to be able to watch both and you talk about both. So
sure.
I didn't even think about that.
Huh.
I didn't even think about that. Holy shit!
Honestly,
I don't know how I'm gonna do that with my show.
Well, I hope that I don't know. I hope that people, they probably will. Let's be honest, they probably will still check out Loki. But I'm telling you, the reviews for Bad Batch have been phenomenal today. Like they've been overwhelmingly good.
Oh
so
yeah,
I hope that it just doesn't overshadow it in any type of way.
Yeah, Bad Batch has 16 episodes. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's gonna be a while.
They're
so yeah, it's gonna
bringing the goods.
Yeah.
So 16 weeks.
Wow.
Damn. Okay, I didn't expect it to be that long. That's crazy.
And people are super high on it already. I just hope it doesn't overshadow it at all. I'm sure people will find a way to watch them both, but
why did Disney do that? That is kind of.
It was a weird.
So they might end at the same time. Then it sounds like their finales might be around the same time.
I think Bad Batches. Well, yeah. I think you're right, Sammy. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Crazy.
So maybe they're hoping both fan bases will flock to both. I don't know.
Maybe, or something for everyone. Like maybe there are only some Star Wars fans and only some people who are just Marvel fans, and they're trying to get everyone.
I didn't want to make this a Bad Batch review, but Sammy, like I'm telling you, probably Cisco
I have to
too.
watch it.
But especially you, Sammy. I think when you see the beginning,
I'm gonna check it out.
I think when you see the beginning of Bad Batch, you're gonna be like, oh yeah. I only say this about Sammy because I know she's more on board with the animated stuff than you are, Cisco. But that said, I thought the animation was beautiful. And, like, I think when Sammy sees the beginning of this one, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm on board. I know what's happening.
That's what I hear. That's what I keep hearing, that the first scene, the first, 10 minutes just are blowing people out of the
It'll
water.
be a bigger deal had you seen Rebels, but it's not something you need to see. You know what I mean? But it's still a big deal.
Right.
It's still a big deal, yeah.
I'm assuming it's, Order 66 related, right?
Very.
So,
Very.
Okay. So,
but
I'll know
that was my expectation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my
But there's other Easter eggs in there that you guys will understand for sure, and there's good stuff.
Nice.
Like it's good stuff. But anyway, go ahead, Sammy.
Oh yeah, so then my other two, and then also Miss Marvel. I am so excited to see Kamala Khan on screen, to see Miss Marvel. I hope it's everything that I want it to be and more. Yeah. Because again, what I love about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like I said, is that street level, that very kind of mundaneness that also can exist in the superhero world. And I think that's what Miss Marvel is going to try to explore.
Yeah, you've been hyping that one up for a while. I mean, I hope it's good. I really do.
The Marvel's one?
Miss Marvel.
No, Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel?
The Marvelous Miss Marvel. The Marvelous Miss Marvel.
Well, you got Captain Marvel, now you got Miss Marvel. It's like, come on now.
Yeah, we got Miss
Maisel.
Marvel.
And you got the Marvels. And you got the Marvels. So
and you got the Marvels.
3 Marvels.
And the Marvels.
Yeah.
That's why I got confused. Like, wait, but okay, I get it now.
But yeah. Oh man, I could die for that series right now. I'm so excited. And then my third one is, I think this is our composite is, which one are we as a group most excited for? Because Spider-Man 3.
Well, there's too much curiosity surrounding it now. You know what I mean? It's like you can't have it on the list.
Alfred Molina confirmed.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we've all talked about how much of an impact the first two, I mean, for me especially the second one, but the first two Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, just I mean, how that impacted.
It was just the anniversary the other day. It was the 19th anniversary or something.
Not only that, we've already seen what John Watts can do with Spider-Man, and I think that we have confidence in John Watts' abilities to make a good third film. Yeah. So regardless, so I think that's another thing that it's got going for it.
I think it's perfectly gonna blend that kind, because I think it's definitely gonna have a ton of nostalgia. Because I mean, come on, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are 99.9% positive are gonna be in this movie. So the nostalgia is really gonna hit. But I think since they're doing it in a way that it's just small cracking,
just seeing them all three on screen together is gonna be
it's gonna be cool. It's gonna people who are like, oh, that was too much.
Can you imagine the memes?
Are gonna be like,
can you imagine the memes already?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The memes are gonna be pointing memes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, the pointing of the.
If they don't do that in the movie,
they're gonna do it. They're gonna
do it. Do not do that in the movie, I will riot. I will riot, Marvel.
If they don't, people are gonna make it. You know, people are creative as hell.
Oh, absolutely.
My question is, I'm not gonna lie though. I was thinking about this when I watched that Andrew Garfield interview today. Which my question was, what if they're not in the fucking movie?
Don't think that.
Hypothetically,
don't put those vibes into the universe.
Hypothetically,
don't put that kind of negativity out into the universe.
I'm not. I'm asking.
You think it's going to be the WandaVision finale effect?
No. Well, I don't know.
It's not Mephisto.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, guys. There's no Mephisto.
I'm just saying.
10 minutes left, and we're like, where is he? Where are they? They have.
I'm just saying. What do you think happens if you get there and they're not in the movie? I mean, do we have the right as fans to be upset?
Well, we saw it. WandaVision, people rebelled against it. They're like, it's not what I expected. I hated the ending. And it's like, well, it's not the show's fault.
Yeah.
I think people will do that.
Right.
People are going to riot. People will riot against it.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad if they're not in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. If they don't.
Which I don't want. I don't want that. I won't feel that way. But like, I mean, just knowing toxic fan culture, it's going to be bad.
It's going to be bad. Yeah, I agree. And I think I'm really scared for that. I think 99.9% they're in the film. Andy Signore already broke this story. I believe him, but I know they're not running with it because it's fucking Andy Signore. But, you know, it's
like, I take it a grain of salt.
But he's connected, man. I think he's right. I think he's got this one.
I hope he's right. Because that's what I mean. Now that
what did he break? What did he break specifically?
He's the first one to break that they were in the movie. He broke that scoop that they are in the movie. He was Andy Signore, and nobody ran with it because it's Andy Signore. But it's not that he's a bad source, but it would like look bad, obviously, on certain.
But it's fair.
Yeah. But he is a good source.
To take it with a grain of salt.
He has good sources. I do trust him on this.
Sure.
Say what you will about his character, his personality, but I trust him when he broke that story.
Connected. Yeah,
he is connected big time. I mean, he's the guy who got Ryan Reynolds in one of his honest trailers, for crying out loud. I mean,
speaking of curiosity, dude, I'm curious what they're gonna do with Black Panther 2. Like
this Wakanda Forever is interesting, isn't it? I mean,
I like the title. I love the title. I will say that. The title's great, but that's one we don't have any information about what they're gonna do with it. So
really did switch last minute here, because when Feige and remember Chadwick was he'd already passed at this point when Feige was talking about it at Investors Day, which is when he announced Chadwick won't be in the film. It was still called Black Panther 2, so they made a pretty quick switch on that. Like honestly,
But like when they played the clip of him in Endgame, like doing the Wakanda Forever, that was great.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, for sure.
I understand the change. Like I would have been fine with Black Panther too, but now it takes on a whole other like meaning, which I mean you kind of had to with adapt. They're gonna have to adapt because Black Panther's not around anymore. So
I just wonder.
It just gives me faith that they'll do good by him. I think.
I just wonder.
They know. Yeah.
Well, no. I just wonder, like, what was the point specifically reading through the script that they were like, we got to call it Wakanda Forever? You know, like, is there something?
Because of Chadwick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if there's more. I know, like, that's how I feel, but I just wonder if there's more narratively.
Well, to me, what I took that as, like, if I had to guess, because it's because of Chadwick Boseman, 100%.
Yeah.
As it should be, as he deserves. But to me, I took it as like it's probably gonna be more around the idea of kind of like
the legacy of the Wakandans or something.
Yeah, as Asgard is not a place, it's a people.
It's a people.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like Wakanda is not
it
one
could,
man.
It could go to the comics because Shuri is Black Panther in the comics. They could do something like that, like passing off the mantle. Maybe that's why it's Wakanda Forever. Like,
maybe right.
Even if it's not her, it could be somebody else, and that becomes Black Panther, and that's why. Like, so I don't know.
I'm just thinking this. I'm thinking like this because, like, and trust me, I hope Wakanda Forever is a better film than the example I'm about to use. But it's just the only thing that's come to mind right now is Rise of Skywalker. Right? Like, obviously that title means, you know, when we think of when we saw the title, we were all like, yeah, it's a tribute to
Skywalker.
The overall. It's the tribute to the overall Skywalker legacy. Like, when we saw the title, that's what we thought. But JJ said there's more meaning to it. Lo and behold, there was. You know what I mean? By the end of it. But, you know, that's what
Chris is really my enemy.
That's fine.
Not
like, if I have an enemy on this
but
planet,
there is a meaning.
I didn't want to start a discussion on Rise of Skywalker. I was making a point about Wakanda Forever in general. Is there something like that in there narratively that they looked at and said, oh, we need to, like, change it. We need to call it Wakanda Forever, you know, outside of just it's an overall tribute to Chadwick, because I'm sure that's part of it. Don't get me wrong, it's great marketing, it works, but I just wonder if there was an extra nugget in there narratively that they just like, we can't see it any other way. I mean, I don't know. You could have called it.
Well, you could go Thor Ragnarok. They could have gone Thor Ragnarok was, you know, I feel like, well, yeah, they went Thor Dark World, Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
They do name sequels sometimes. I mean, you got Iron Man 2, 3, but then you got Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Civil War. So it's like it's not unprecedented with the MCU. It's like they do it sometimes.
No, it's not. I'm just wondering. Yeah. It's just my curiosity is getting the better of me on it is all. Anyway, I think we're gonna wrap it. So yeah, guys, thanks everybody for joining today. This was a lot of fun. Sammy, where can people find you before we go?
Yeah, you guys can find me over on Instagram. I'm at Sammy Ramirez 14, and then also on Twitter at Sammy Ramirez. Also over on Stereo, doing weekly shows at Sammy Ramirez.
Yeah, and Cisco, where can people find you before we go?
Yeah, so again, Misfit_minded on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I also do a show on Stereo called Saturday Matinee. This week's episode, we're doing our double feature is going to be Rock and Rolla from Guy Ritchie, and his new one, Wrath of Man, with Jason Statham, that comes out this week.
All right.
So yeah, and I also made a bunch of social media pages for Saturday Matinee. So if you guys want to follow us on, again, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's Sats Matinee Pod is the @ handle for all of those. So check them out.
Right on. And real quick, guys, before we go, just to touch on it real quick. So next week we will be ceasing all video production on the channel. There won't be anything getting uploaded. So just prepare for that. Also, the week after that, we start the transition. So Monday will be movie night with Sammy. She will be hosting that show. Tuesday will be Anorax Entertainment Podcast with myself, Sammy, and Cisco. And Thursdays will be the Anorax Entertainment Podcast with Sammy, myself, and TBD. So keep an eye out for that. It should be a lot of fun, and just excited to make those changes. But for myself, you can find me on Twitter at Dom_Martino_, and on Instagram, Dom_Martino_official. And you can also follow me on Stereo at Dom Martino. Thank you guys for joining again. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends, and hit that bell for notifications. Much appreciated. Leave some feedback in the comment section as well. I left that one out there at that time. But thank you guys again. This has been another episode of Dom's Corner, and everybody have a good night. We'll see you later. Thanks.